the cracks will look mostly dry. Err on the side of undercooking. Cool completely before trying to move the cookies. Yields about 4 dozen, unless a child helps. In this case, you should monitor the inevitable quality control sampling. Emily. Chapter 1. Jamie ducked under a tray laden with large entree plates and snatched her pastry bag from the counter next to the rinse sink. "Damn it, Chuck, I wasn't done with it."
"Keep track of it, then. Marcus told me to clean up."
"Fuck Marcus." Jamie thought it as loudly as possible, aware that she could have said it and no one would have heard her over the din of the kitchen with all stations working at fever pace. A waiter breezed by her, saying in passing,
"I've got 2 chocolate soufflés, no raspberry on one."
2 chocolate soufflés, no raspberry on one, Jamie echoed. She quickly whipped egg whites back to a stiff peak, then broke the frothy whites by slowly blending in a small amount of creamed dark chocolate. Then she poured the now cocoa-tinted whites back into the dark chocolate mixture. Folding the 2 mixtures together with gentle strokes until dark and light were blended, she deftly filled 2 soufflé cups, neatly encircled with parchment chimneys, and set them in a baking pan a quarter full of hot water. She repeated to herself, "Stephen soufflés, timer number 4," after she put the pan in the pastry oven. She handled more than a dozen dessert orders before the soufflés were done. She enjoyed the artistic end a little bit, but filling in for the flu-stricken pastry chef for the night was intense. She flocked deep blue plates with powdered sugar, then ladled on nearly black chocolate sauce. Teaspoon dollops of white chocolate sauce followed around the perimeter of the dark sauce, when she used toothpicks as paintbrushes to create decorative whorls in the white sauce. She carefully set truffles with mint chocolate leaves and other decorations on the beds of sauces, just as she had seen Antoine do every night for the last 4 months. Marcus had not been happy when Antoine had insisted Jamie fill in for him. She took a short mental break after what seemed like the umpteenth chocolate curl fantasy. A scoop of lemon ice surrounded by long, sensuous curls of 4 different chocolates, and wondered what Aunt Emily would think of the desserts. They looked nothing like anything Aunt Em had ever served at her boarding house, but the boarding house guests had left the table just as pleased and a whole lot less poor. Jamie yummed to herself. A slab of bread and cinnamon roll pudding with battered rum sauce would be delicious right about now. When the soufflés were done, she arranged thick milk chocolate curls on more powdered sugar flocked plates, then set the cups with their towers of soufflé in place in the center of each. The waiter arrived just as she finished and whisked them in a single bowl of chilled raspberries away, while Jamie followed with a boat of warm milk chocolate sauce. She liked Steve. He had a sense of panache. At tableside, he punched down the soufflés like an artist, then stepped back with a flourish so that the chef-hatted, apron-wrapped Jamie add the final touch. This part she loved. The guests were watching their soufflés deflate with equally deflated expressions, but when Jamie poured in the sauce and the soufflés swelled again, their eyes lit up. Steve added the chilled raspberries to one plate, while Jamie faded back to the kitchen. At the end of the night, more than 75 desserts behind her, plus 2 dozen chocolate soufflés, Jamie heaved a sigh of relief when the bus crew came in to finish cleaning in the kitchen. Juan and Tychum gave her heartfelt looks of gratitude upon discovering that she had already dumped her many bowls and saucepans into one of the sinks to soak. Antoine was not as tidy, but Jamie had learned to appreciate tidiness after years of scrubbing up after her aunt. Aunt Emily cooked fast and economically in terms of pans used, but she could never be described as neat. Marcus suddenly loomed over her.
"You are behind. Some of the waiters complained."
Jamie knew she had not been behind. She clenched her teeth and counted to 10. Steve's voice floated over from the other side of the kitchen where the waiters were putting on their raincoats.
"If you're talking about what I said earlier, it was somebody complaining that the soufflé took 25 minutes. Typical tourist. The menu even says to allow 30 minutes, and they complain when Jamie does it in 25.
Jamie was grateful to Steve for putting in a good word, but she knew it was pointless. Marcus disliked her as intensely as he disliked all women. He barely tolerated them as waiters, but certainly did not want one in his kitchen. He probably believed that Jamie's ovaries would somehow spoil the soup. The waiters were disappearing into the rainy night.